Hello everybody, we're going to be going through some NAPLAN probability questions. So some of these are a bit tricky, some of them are fairly simple. We'll go through it somewhat quickly. There is a video with the trickier questions where I've gone through a lot slower. So here we go. Table shows how many balloons of each colour are in the clown's bag. So we need to see, without looking, the clown takes a balloon out of his bag. What is the chance that the balloon is red? Well, first up, let's draw our little pen. If we have to first see how many of them are red, that's over here, 16 are red, 16 red ones. How many are there in total? 16 plus 8 is 24, plus 3 is 27, plus 5 is 32. You can just do that by simple addition. 8, 3, 5, add 6 and 8, 14 plus 8, that's 2, and 2, and that ends up being 3. So it's 16 out of 32, and that will simplify down when we divide by 16 to 1 over 2. If you didn't know about dividing by 16, you can just divide by 2 till you get there. And then 1 out of 2. Either way, 1 out of 2 is your answer. Pat on the back if you got that one right. Sarah rolls a 6-sided die once. Which of these is Sarah most likely to roll? So if you roll a die, 6-sided die, here's your options. So number greater than 4, that's, you've got 5 and 6 are your options, which is, I'll put a little mark there, 5, 6. So you've got 2 options, 2 out of 6 options, because there's 6 options obviously, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 of those options are greater than 4. Number less than 5, I'll write it in the other corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're less than 5. 5 is equal to 5, so that's not less than 5, and 6 is greater than 5. So I've got 4 different options there. We'll put that over here. 4 out of 6 for that one. Odd number. Which are our odd numbers? I'll put a circle around them. That's an odd number. This next one's an even. That's an odd number. Next one's an even. That's an odd number. Next one's an even. So there's 3 different odd numbers. So the chances of getting an odd number is therefore 3 out of 6. And the number 6, there's only one number that is 6. That one right there. This one here will rink. Number 6. So all the others are not the number 6. So there's one option out of 6, which will give us the number 6. And so it says which is most likely to roll. So that's obviously which one is the biggest number. We've got a 2, we've got a 3, we've got a 1, but the biggest one is the 4. So 4, so a number less than 5 is the one that's most likely to happen because there's 4 different options. 4, 3, 2, and 1 are all numbers that are less than 5. 12 apples and 7 pears in a bowl. About what percentage of the fruit in the bowl is pears? So slightly advanced, I'll change the number slightly. Instead of it being 7 pears and 12 apples, we'll change it to 6 and 12. And the reason why I've done that is because I know that 6 is a factor of 12, which means it makes this very easy. If there's 6 pears and 12 apples, that is 18 in total. And if 6 out of 18 are pears, then that means it's 1 out of 3, which hopefully we know off by heart is 33%, or 0.3 recurring as a decimal. But because we've got 7 out of 19 instead of 6 out of 18, it's slightly more likely than 33%. So we're looking for a number that's a little bit more than 33%, which obviously we've got one candidate. But now to actually figure it out properly, you just do short division with the small number on the inside of the quotient. There's our 7. Adding a dot and 0 does nothing to change the 7. It changes how we see it, but it's not increasing the number in any way. 19 into 7 doesn't work. 19 into 70, I know that 3 20s are 60, so I have to take 3 1s off that to make it 3 19s instead of 3 20s. The 3 19s I know are 57, which will give me 13 remainder to get to my 70. So that was 3. I'll put a 0 by the way because 19 didn't go into 7. So 19 into 70. So I got 3 plus 13 remainders. 1, 3. There's a lot of difficulty with the 3s. There we go. 19 into 130. I know that 6 times 20 equals 120. So 6 times 19 will be 6 less than that. 114. Which is most of the way to 130. I would need a further 16 to get to 130. So it goes in 6 times, and I've got 16 remainders. 1, 6. Now it's how many times does 19 go into 160? That's for this next part. And I know that 7 19s will be just less than 140. That means 8 19s will be just less than 160. It'll be 8 19s will end up being 160 minus 8, which will be 152. So yeah, that will be 8 19s with 8 remainder. And this will be the last one I do. 19 that goes into 80. I know that's going to be 4 remainder, 4. 4 19s are 76. So that's our decimal. And obviously we can just times our decimal by 100, which means I've got to move the decimal place over twice. And therefore it's 36.84%, which is very, very close to 37, which you already figured out. Now, if you were to use a calculator to solve this, it is as simple as doing 7 divided by 19 equals. And the number that you're going to get is what we were figuring out there. So and it will start with those 4 numbers, assuming my maths was correct. So that's how we work that one out. Next one, 15 fruit sticks, equal numbers of orange, strawberry, and apricot. So just from there, 15, and there's 3 different flavors, equal amounts. That means that there's 5 of each, because 15 divided by 3 equals 5. He picked a stick without looking. What's the chance that it's either an apricot or strawberry? So at the bottom of the fraction is your total number of options, 15. There are 5 orange, 5 strawberry, 5 apricot, and we're asking what's the chance of an apricot and a strawberry? So we're going to add these 2 numbers together. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 out of 15. Numbers that end in 0 and 5 are both divisible by 5, because that's just how 5 times tables works. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so forth. It's always going 5, then 0, 5, and 0, 5, and 0. So I know it can divide by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So 2/3 is our answer. Number 5, this spinner is spun twice. The 2 numbers that the arrow lands on are added together. Which of these totals is most likely to occur? This is just like a die. So these are your options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So on average, if you roll a die 6 times, just like if you spin this spinner 6 times and it's perfectly fair, each of these numbers is going to come up once. So I roll it 6 times and I get 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. So if you add all those numbers up, it's 4 plus 5 plus 6 equals 21. And that's very easy when you consider that on a die, the 1 and the 6 are opposite, the 5 and the 2 are opposite, the 3 and the 4 are opposite. 3 different opposites that add up to 7. 3 7s are 21. So if you roll it 6 times and you get 21 in total, what about when I roll it once? I'm going to have to do my 21 divided by 6. 6 into 2 won't work. 6 into 21 will be 3 times with 3 remainders. Remember, if I put the zeros at the end, that changes nothing. Make sure my decimal places line up. So now we're doing, so it's 3 plus 3 remainders, because 6 3s are 18. So let's try 3, there it is. 6 into 30 fits perfectly 5 times. So on average, you're going to get 3.5. Okay, on average, that's what you're going to get. So if we spin it twice, which of these totals is most likely to occur? Well, 3.5 times 2 will give us 7. 2 times 3, 6 plus 1, 7. So 7 is our answer. This seems more complicated than it really is. You've just got to look at what is likely to happen. There's as much chance of getting a big number as a small. So there's as much chance of getting a 6 and a 1, and hence the average between those two is also 3.5. And that's the same with all the other pairs. It's just as likely to get a 5 or a 2 or a 4 or a 3. Each number is equally likely, and that's why we did this sum of where they all turned out once each. And they got us our 21, and then we did that by the once each. That gets us 3.5. So it's 3.5 each time. The reason they asked to spin twice is because they wanted a whole number. They didn't want a 3.5 as an answer. Halfway between 3 and 4 is no good. It's much too tricky for younger students. Next, a standard 6-sided dice is rolled once. What's the probability that the number on the top face is a factor of 6? Well, here's 6. Factors of 6 are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. 4 is not a factor of 6 and neither is 5. So that's 4 options. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our 4 options. And therefore we've got 4 options out of the 6 that it could turn up with that will be factors. And because they're both even numbers, we can simplify. 2 over 3. Here we go. Lucas is playing a game with the spinner shown. He will win if the arrow stops in the blue section. What's the probability that Lucas will win the game on his next spin? Well, let's count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 total options, and there's 2 blues. So our answer is 2 over 8, but we can simplify that. Divide both numbers by 2. 1 over 4. Easy. A bag contains 15 beads that are either red or yellow. 15 that are red or yellow. Probability of randomly removing a red is 20%. 20% of them are red. And we have to equal 100%, which means if this is the red, we need something else percent to be yellow, and those two added together need to be 100% total. 100 take 20 is 80%. Just to put numbers to it as well, 20%, hopefully we know, equals 1/5. Also equals 0.2 as a decimal. And therefore 15, a fifth of 15 means 3 beads. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So 3 beads are red. That means 12 are yellow. And that's our 80%. And that's our 4/5. And that's our 0.8. And obviously 1/5 plus 4/5 equals 5/5, 100%. 20% plus 80% is 100%. 0.2 plus 0.8 is 1.0, which is our 100%. And you add the 3 and the 12, and that's our 15 total beads, which it says at the top. So yeah, that's how you do those 8 questions. Leave comments below if you need more assistance with any of them, and I'll think of other ways to try to explain them. I'll also leave a link to the trickier questions, which I took a lot more time to try to explain. Hope this has been helpful. Thanks so much for your time.